Fight! 3, 2, 1.
Welcome to Arcade Attack. A retro gaming podcast for up to 4 players.
Sonic Boom!
Hello, it's Adrian here from Arcade Attack, and I thought we'd do another podcast.
Yes.
Why not?
Why not? Why not? We are maybe close to the end, but we'll talk about that more later, possibly. But before we talk about this, let me introduce James.
Hey, I'm still here, unfortunately.
Yeah, still in the room.
Still a thorn in your side.
And we got Dilsey.
Part of the furniture.
That's my tagline. Keith.
Sitting on the furniture.
You're sitting on Dylan.
Sitting on the
Dill's taken the mantle of part of the furniture.
Now
You're all on my furniture.
it's true. In the last podcast, we joked that we have a lot of part ones, don't we? And we don't always do many part twos.
That's true.
Hey,
Yes.
there's lots of things you can say about me, but I've actually done 2 lost game podcasts.
Yes.
Do you remember? Can you
Yes.
name them?
No.
No.
Warcraft
Adventures. Yeah. The point and click game that never came out. And
Minor Earth Major Sky. No, hang on, no. White Hole Black Noise.
yeah, well, that can kind of count. I did do an
Action 52.
Wait, hang on, that's not right. White hole, black noise.
Black Hole's White Noise.
sounds like dodgy
Black
film.
ice, white noise.
Yeah, that was the unreleased Jag CD game.
There you go. So
But that
that's
wasn't officially a Lost Games part of the series, even though it kind of
It
was.
was a lost game.
But Thrill Kill.
Thrill Kill.
You didn't mention that in your fighting pod.
No, but I mentioned
Wasn't
a lost game, though.
It wasn't released.
It wasn't released. I thought I'd do a kind of spin-off series. You know, like Corey in the House of a spin-off. That was
Corey
a
in the
spin-off
House.
series.
Here it is again.
Boy is love.
Corey is
Because
love.
officially that was a spin-off of That's So Raven, wasn't it? So I
It
thought
was.
I'd do a
It was.
spin-off of the Lost Games, and I might do the Lost Consoles.
Yes, the lost consoles.
I've got 15 here, the top 15. I don't know how I rank these.
Yeah,
Really.
yeah,
You rank them. But the top 15 unreleased video game consoles of all time. So
Nice.
They, at the very least, they've been thought about, they've been sketched. Some of them almost been fully made, but they weren't released. And I've got some 15 real crazy consoles.
Do it.
Very brief history in each one. I've got a few images of them as well. At the end of the pod, I want to go around the table. The round table, believe it or not.
Yes,
and I
round
want to
table.
know. I want to know if you could own any of these consoles. You know, let's imagine they were made. Which would
one
you
and
choose?
why? Okay.
And maybe you can explain which is the worst one as well.
Okay.
I've mentioned a few of these in the past. They've cropped up now and then in previous podcasts, but not properly. But number 15 has been mentioned in the past. You said Action 52.
I did say Action 52.
The guy that made Action 52, do you remember the entrepreneur?
yes, yeah.
He also had an idea for a console, didn't he? Do you remember?
What was it called?
Vaguely.
It was called the Action Enterprise Games Master.
That's weird that James said that,
It
and
is
that's
weird.
the
It is a
first
bit
one.
spooky.
It's weird.
That's a-
One of us been peeking over a bit.
No, I feel
I've
like
said something useful.
I feel like we just spend too much time with each other.
We do. We do. There's the first picture. There's a little sketch of what it's supposed to look like. Can you see that? And
Okay.
it's quite an ingenious machine. Apparently, this console was supposedly going to play the SNES, Genesis, Mega Drive, Game Boy, TG16, NES,
TurboGrafx.
16,
TurboGrafx.
NES, and Lynx games.
What the hell?
In addition to its own. Can you imagine its own?
That's
That'd be
like-
weird.
It's the Uber pirate machine.
Yeah. yeah.
Yeah. And I believe this is the person that came up with the idea of Action 52, Vince Perry.
Vince Perry.
Is it Vince Perry?
Yeah, Vince Perry.
That was his idea. It never actually happened though. Too ambitious. Way too ambitious. And
Way too ambitious. Imagine how expensive it would have been to make in the early 90s.
yeah,
a
imagine
console that played every other console's games.
Now you can make it like 2 seconds. This rest on
Can you
fire.
imagine
that's right.
Nintendo's and Sega's lawyers at the time? I'm getting ready to cancel this bad boy. But still, pretty cool console if it actually did exist.
It's a great idea, but it's an idea that
And it
any
looks-
of us could have come up with and realised it was impossible.
It kind of looks portable. Yeah, it kind of looks like a portable machine. So maybe it's a bit like the Switch. You could play. I don't know. It's hard to explain, isn't it? It's got a little screen there. Yeah.
That is weird.
It is weird. It's a weird looking
looks like a
thing.
steering wheel.
Was it
It looks
supposed
like
to
the
be
Knight
portable?
Rider.
Was it supposed to be
Oh
portable?
yeah, it does.
It looks like Knight Rider with a tiny little screen.
It does, doesn't it? It's a weird looking thing. I do think who knows? It's like this. This is what Nintendo did 20 years later with the Switch. Maybe. So that's number 15.
Okay.
In 14th place. Now I really want one of these bad boys. It's before the Atari Jaguar. There was the
Atari.
name a cat. Name
Jaguar.
Lynx.
Name
Atari Lynx.
No, name another cat. That's
Atari House Cat.
Ocelot. Serval. Tiger.
No, I think Keith really
Mountain
knows.
lion.
Panther.
Yeah, the Panther.
Come on.
As the story goes, in 1988, Atari, a bit down their luck to be fair, they were working on 2 next-gen consoles. The first was a 32-bit Panther, and they were already working on the 64-bit Behemoth Jaguar, the mighty 64.
I love the way it gets like special treatment with the
But credit when the 2 teams that were working on this, I think the story goes that the Jaguar was actually picking up more speed than maybe the Panther, so they thought, well, let's put all our eggs in the mighty 64-bit Mega Beast over here.
Which is quicker, though? A Jaguar or a Panther?
I would say
don't know.
Jaguar, but I'm not totally
They should have
sure.
made a cheetah.
They should have made a cheetah.
Oh, that would have been uber
Atari
fast.
cheetah.
But then maybe the Action 52 guy had trademarked it because of the Cheetah,
Cheetah
Man.
Man.
This is interesting, actually. The Panther was originally supposed to be launched and running around the sort of 1991 SNES time launch as well. So I guess Atari thought, well, let's really, really focus on the real big beast here, the 64.
You know what it reminds me of? You know in Anchorman?
Oh, yeah, go on.
You know the aftershave?
Yeah, it
Sex
works
Panther.
every time.
Atari Panther. It works every time.
was it
60% of the
yeah.
time.
60% of the time.
64% of the
Yeah.
time.
It works 64% of the time. It works
64% of
every
the time. It works every time.
Atari Panther.
Yeah, well, this will only work 32% of the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Half the odds.
I'll call it. Oh, this is good. Remember, the Jaguar had 2 chips. Remember they were nicknamed?
Tom and Jerry.
Tom and Jerry. I think the Panther was... Yeah, apparently had 3 chips.
Oh, wait. Was
chip.
Spike.
Huey, Dewey,
Who's
Louie.
the dog in Tom and Jerry? Yes.
Yeah.
Tom, Jerry, and
Tom, Jerry and
Or
Spike.
maybe they're named after the Powerpuff
Or
Girls.
Huey,
thing.
Dewey and Louie. I like that. James.
Yeah. But yeah, apparently there'll be 3 chips working in tandem, consisting of a Motorola 68000.
That's the one that was in the Mega Drive.
And,
And
yes,
probably a
Running
lot
at
of other things.
a lot of
16
other-
megahertz.
a lot of other computers.
Yeah. It would have a N-Sonic sound processor called Otis, featuring 32 sound channels.
Nice.
The Panther could display 8,192 colours from a palette of over 250,000 colours available. So pretty crazy, pretty badass.
Like it.
Yeah. But it does seem some of the hardware that was in the Panther did end up in the Jaguar. Yeah. So... but look at this. The games that are rumoured for the Panther was Cybermorph, which, we know
Yes.
that's Cybermorph. Raiden, which was a Jaguar
Yeah.
game. And Crescent Galaxy. Remember?
Oh, yeah.
Trevor McFur.
Trevor McFur.
Terry.
Trevor McFur
Trevor
and the
McFur.
Crescent Galaxy. Man, that
Trevor
game.
McFur.
Oh, man. But these games, and actually, even though Cybermorph is kind of an interesting game, they're all quite naff games, really, weren't they? Raiden was all right. Raiden.
Yeah, it's decent.
Which was the
shooter,
good
isn't it?
version of that? That wasn't the Jag
The
CD.
Battlemorph, wasn't it?
Battlemorph.
That was a good game. That was a good game.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to, because you like hijacking me, so I'm going
Yeah, go for it.
I'm just going to ask a question, which probably been asked a million times, but I'm going to ask it anyway, just to satisfy my curiosity. Why did they fail? So,
Who's
like
they?
Jaguar, for example, why did that fail? Like, what if there was it just the games, or was it a mixture of stuff, or what was it?
Listen back to episode 1.
Episode 1. That's a whole podcast.
Yeah, but like, if I put you on the spot, if you had to give one reason, what is it?
Not enough good games.
What was the games? In the end, it was the
Just
games.
the library.
It wasn't.
also-
It wasn't as powerful as
No,
they said it
it was-
was, but you could have had good games. You don't. But
It could have
You had
really-
to trick it to get it to work.
It was in that weird position where they thought they had to go 3D, but it wasn't really. And their 2D games are pretty naff. It was a weird. It didn't really focus. And I like the Jaguar. I'm a big fan of it. And I had to mention it before we,
Of course.
we did.
I was just curious, that's why. But there we go.
Plus, a lot of people hate the
over.
controller.
The really short answer is not enough good games.
Yeah.
That is the really short answer.
Well,
isn't
that'll kill it.
There's
Wait,
loads
are
of
you
other,
telling me
there's loads of other
that
factors,
Trevor
but
McFur couldn't save the Panther. is it?
Sadly not. Nor could Troy Aikman football.
Hey!
Yes, Troy Aikman. In 13th place, this is a great. This could be a whole podcast. I think we might mention it before, but there's a Nintendo SNES CD PlayStation.
See, I thought this could have been like number one on the list. Imagine.
This is not a ranked list.
No, it's
It's not ranked.
I haven't
Clearly
because
not.
this probably is number one. And there's a
Imagine.
prototype, isn't there? I think. I think it's
There
worth
was
$1
again. There was
billion.
definitely. I know you've got a picture there, but there were definitely photos
Yeah.
of it. I'm sure there were. Of what it
Huge
looked
long
like
story,
with
isn't
the- Yeah.
Originally, Nintendo wanted to partner with Sony.
Mm-hmm.
They went behind Sony's back to Philips. All kinds of legal trouble. And the machine never actually got completed. It fell apart last minute.
It was well on the way though, wasn't it?
It was again. I think it was
Didn't
made.
Jordan say Bernie Stolar had one?
Yeah, I think he did.
Don't know
I
if
think
that's
he
meant to be
did.
common knowledge.
We
but yeah.
it's out there now. It's out there now. This is really interesting. Now we mentioned this before, but due to contractual obligations with Philips, when they went behind Sony's back, they had to agree that Philips could release their own Mario and Zelda games.
And we all know what happened.
We do.
Man, that just changed the game.
Changed the game. The greatest Zelda games ever made.
And obviously Sony, they thought this console industry is too difficult. We're going to back up.
We're gonna
We're going to
Yeah.
focus on the Walkmans. And that's it.
Walkman and the Discman.
Yeah.
And everything else, man.
And
Yep.
I do feel that maybe Sony missed a trick not entering the
Yeah.
Why wasn't
market.
it called the Sony Playman?
Yeah.
The Playman.
The rumours are, and these are only rumours, that they were going to call their console the PlayStation. But they're only rumours, of course.
That's
So
a weird name.
we'll
isn't it?
never know if that would ever
catch on.
That will
No.
never take off, will it? Let's be honest.
In 12th place, here we go. We've got the Atari.
But not ranked.
Not ranked. I don't rank them.
Hold on, what are we up to?
This is number 12.
Number 12. Okay.
So the Atari Mirai. I think it's pronounced Mirai. Look at that thing.
Atari again.
Atari Mirai.
Yeah, look at that. It's got
Mirai.
weird, sort of pastely
No,
buttons.
it's like a printer or photocopy or something.
Mirai.
Yeah, like it's weird. A pastely, lots of like Smarties or what are those fizzy? Remember those fizzy sherbet sweets? That you-
Oh, the
flying
flying
saucers.
saucers.
you look like they've erased some flying saucers on a
How many
printer.
How many bites of the cherry did Atari have at consoles,
Well,
for God's sake?
This was going to be based on the Atari ST computer line, so it's going to be kind of like a console equivalent. There is some speculation out there that the console might have been a joint project between Atari and SNK. They're the rumours. A cheaper version, maybe, of the Neo Geo that normal people could afford. Normal people. It says here normal
The
people.
peasants,
Yeah.
the lowly folk.
The normies.
This is really... Again, I hope...
Normies. You're a normie.
Yeah, you can't afford a Neo Geo.
You can have an Atari Mirai.
Yeah, but look, this is cool. Apparently, SNK and Atari offices were basically located right across the street from each other in California, and the execs from these two companies knew each other quite well. People point to the overly large cartridge slot and the fact that Mirai means future in Japan as the evidence. Can you imagine?
That's the evidence.
No, they're two. It's watertight.
Yeah.
It's definitely happening. But I mean, that's pretty cool, though. That if they could have a slightly weaker Neo Geo, man, that could have been badass, right?
That's a weird reason of the large cartridge slot. Have you ever seen the size of a Neo Geo cartridge? They're massive.
Show us.
Yeah,
It would
yeah.
need.
That big. Okay, there you go,
Because they were
listeners.
the same size as the ones that went into the arcade machine.
Probably as big as the console. Not that we can
Probably.
compare it. Oh man. In 11th place, we got this kind of a
But not
console.
ranked.
Not ranked.
Never ranked. We got the Sega VR. Now that would be badass, right? That'd be cool.
Oh, come on. When
this
was
is
this?
This here we go. In
Was
the
this-
early, so yeah, virtual reality was a big thing kind of in the 90s, wasn't it? I think a lot of
Yeah,
people sort of
yeah,
jumped on the
yeah.
bandwagon. And actually, the Jaguar did have one made for it. The kind of prototype wasn't released, but that's not what we're talking about today. But back in the early 90s, virtual reality was one of those buzzwords everyone was throwing around. Right around the time when computers started moving some decent polygons like Virtual Fighter, Doom, and Descent, this system was designed around the first-person shooter adventure game, and even appeared, this prototype here, the Sega VR, appeared in a Spike Lee movie called Clockers.
Wow.
Anyone seen Clockers?
I haven't seen Clockers. No.
Rings a bell. I don't think I've seen it, but yeah.
And actually in in that film, the game they'd play is a game called Gangster, with an A at the end. Gangster. But the executives in the Sega corporate hierarchy were too afraid of people wearing it and wandering into traffic or walking off cliffs. So it got canned. I mean,
What,
seriously,
did it not need plugging in then?
that's what I don't quite understand. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't quite understand that bit. Doesn't give the exact date, but if that's a true picture, that's pretty cool.
Here you
Isn't
go.
it?
It is pretty cool.
Here you go. I got a picture of from the film.
No, that is. It looks like RoboCop, but the dodgy.
Look how
dodgy
cool
logo.
that new one, yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So if you if anyone searches Clockers and Sega VR in the same string, you'll get the first image, or presumably the first
Nice.
image on Google. That looks cool. It does. There's no
Do you
denying
own
it.
Does anyone
That
here
would
own a
be
VR
awesome.
headset?
Yes.
No.
I've got a PlayStation
Not yet.
VR.
Do you like it?
Yeah.
Would you rather have the Sega VR?
Yeah.
Yeah. We all would
Questions?
rather have
Yeah,
that.
of course, yeah.
Daft question, that isn't it?
dumb question.
PSVR's all right, but Sega VR is where it's at.
We'll stick to Sega. So number 10, we're going to talk about the Sega Neptune. Have you heard about this?
Sega
Plasty
Neptune.
Planet themes, Saturn, Neptune.
Yeah.
Dreamcast. Oh no,
someone's-
no.
Has someone got the prototype of this somewhere? Has some
that's-
random YouTuber
that's
got
the
the prototype of it?
See, that looks like a 30. I mean, that's a weird looking thing. It looks like.
It does.
looks
say,
like a
it does.
Saturn.
It does say 32X on it.
It looks like a 32X that's been
Yeah.
crushed, doesn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
So in the mid '90s, Sega production line was ridiculous. Let's be completely honest. There were look at this.
Go on.
By 1995, the company supported 8 incompatible gaming platforms. I'm talking the Genesis, the Sega CD, the 32X, the 32X CD. Okay.
Yeah, you can play 32X CD games
Game Gear,
with a Mega CD.
With a Mega CD and a 32X.
Game
Yeah, so,
Gear.
yeah. Game Gear.
Pico,
Yeah.
Pico,
Oh, yeah,
Pico,
Pico thing. Yeah.
Saturn,
Obviously.
and in some markets still the.
Master
System.
System.
Yeah.
Hey, Brazil.
Um,
Brazil.
And it also sold the CDX, a combined Sega Genesis and Mega CD.
Yeah.
And the Nomad. What's the Nomad?
That's the
portable
one.
It is. The Neptune. What was special about the Neptune?
I don't know.
Well, this is it's going to try and simplify their products by combining the Genesis and the 32X add-on into one unit.
Wow.
Yeah.
The Genesis and the
Buy a 32X.
Wow.
Amazing.
Wow.
No.
Exciting.
It was just
Or
in it.
I could take the money on
All 10
I was
games.
going to spend on that and buy a Saturn.
all 11 32X games, wherever it
Yeah.
was.
No, it had like 40, didn't it? It's
Oh,
the
yeah, I'm joking.
Jag CD that had it,
I'm
11
joking.
games, wasn't
He's
it?
pulling your leg.
I'm joking. Again, apparently this was being made, but
Yeah.
I think they thought this is ridiculous. We need to focus on
We've
the
already
Saturn.
got 8 consoles.
Yeah. Yeah. Can you imagine owning all those lined up? Crazy times. Number 9. We're in single digits now. Number 9.
But not
It's happening.
Ultravision video arcade system made in 1982. Well, not fully released. Look at that
Okay.
thing. Can you see that?
Okay.
That's cool.
Little screen.
Got like a
Ultravision.
little screen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the VAS, they called it the VAS, designed and promoted by a small American company called Ultravision, promised to be an all-in-one answer to every video game's wildest dreams. It was to integrate a 10-inch color TV set, a video game system, and a high-powered computer into one unit. And in addition to the console's own custom software, plug-in modules would be available to let users play Atari 2600 and is that ColecoVision games?
Calico.
My apologies.
ColecoVision.
All this sounded too good to be true, and it was. In the end, the promises didn't come to fruition, and it was a load of hot air, apparently.
I mean, let's be honest. Combining what was it? The color monitor,
The color television. it
color
says.
TV.
Yeah, not
Yeah.
just
So
the
it
monitor.
had.
Yeah.
You could watch TV
I
on
think
it.
so. Yeah.
So color TV, a PC essentially,
And it's got headphones as well on this picture.
and what was and a games console.
Yeah, and that games console could play Atari or I can't say the word.
ColecoVision.
There you go.
I mean,
What year
the-
was that? What year was that? Ed?
1982, the
Yes.
year we were born.
But
Pretty-
the scope,
pretty
the
ambitious.
scope for things to go wrong there. I mean,
Yeah.
for Jesus.
It's one unit as well. It's
Plus, well, also a couple of years later, the Amstrad beat him to it, didn't they? By doing the same thing with the TV tuner. Whee! Anyway, gotta love it.
Keith's face is a picture right now. He's seen number 8. He's upset at me. I've slipped another Atari console.
higher.
Another Atari console.
Oh no! At number 8, we got the Atari Jaguar Duo. Duo.
Duo.
Is
He
that
can't
with,
help himself, can
is that with the CD built
Yes,
into
it is.
Yeah.
Which is what they should have done maybe in the first
Yes,
place.
they should have done. Yes. So the
exactly
Atari Jaguar Duo is basically a little bit like Neptune. It combined the original console with the CD add-on combined. It looks a bit weird. Looks like a scale, doesn't it? You might wanna
It
step
does
on
look
that.
like some electronic scales. Yeah.
It does a little bit. It was never released, and actually, when I interviewed Joe Kane,
Yes, great
ex-Sega,
interview.
ex-Atari gentleman. Again, he's not 100% sure, but in the interview, he does talk about how he was talking with the Atari people before it all went under. He was there during the collapse, that they were working on the Jaguar 2. But there's not much evidence that ever happened. But I think it's canon. I think it's out there. It's in the podcast.
Jag 2.
The Jag 2. I don't think he was talking about the Jag Duo. So maybe he was. He wasn't completely sure. But there were rumours the Jag 2
he?
was
Very
being
much
made.
a lost console.
But the Atari Jag Duo, yeah, it looks a bit weird.
It looks a bit weird. That's,
And we'll
that's the
sign off
bottom
on
line.
that bit, yeah.
Moving
The
on.
bottom line,
Moving
it just
on.
looks a bit weird.
Number 7, we've got the Conix multi-system made in 1989. Look at that thing.
It looks
steering
like steering wheel.
It looks
Just a steering
and
wheel controller.
pedals.
And pedals.
Yeah, steering wheel and pedals.
It looks like the Xbox 360's controller, steering wheel controller thing.
But this is pretty cool. In 1989, a British peripheral maker, Conix, never heard of them.
Nope.
Conix. Is that X or CKS? Or
Either way, it works great.
whatever, yeah.
Konix, and they actually
Yeah, no,
made.
never heard of them.
They actually established a quite a good reputation of making games controllers for other systems. But when it came to designing its own games console, it took what it knew best and ran with it. They are crafting a complex steering controller with a built-in video game system. Yeah.
So you could only play racing games.
Well, the multi-systems integrated controller could be changed into 3 modes: steering wheel,
Oh my god, it's a transformer.
Revolutionary. that.
flight,
Oh my god, it's a transformer.
flight yoke. Is that the right
Flight yoke.
word?
Yeah, yoke,
flight
yeah,
yoke.
yeah.
And a motorcycle handles.
Oh what?
Yeah. Oh, actually, they went with the motorcycle handles.
Is that
actually,
what that is?
Yeah. All of which supported the tactile force feedback. That does sound good, doesn't it?
That's amazing.
It's got force feedback. There you go.
It sounds
The
amazing.
system,
What year was that?
89.
No.
Yeah, I know.
Force feedback in 89.
Yeah. The system would have cartridges with 3.5-inch floppy disks for cost reasons.
Nice.
Good. And additional accessories like a joystick, a foot pedals, and a light gun with recoil. Can you imagine? I know.
This is like an arcade goer's
and,
dream.
and a motorised gaming chair were planned.
Oh,
They knew. They just didn't have the backing, clearly.
it's an amazing idea.
So
Yeah.
that's way,
After they
way
revealed-
before
It
its
would have
time.
cost like $1 million.
Yeah, not long
Plus
after
that.
not long after they revealed these ideas, the company ran out of money.
There you go.
but even having the idea made them
No, that is
bankrupt.
quality, isn't it?
That's
Take
an-
out a small mortgage
I love
just to
that.
write it on.
I
I mean, that's
love
Keith's
that.
favourite so far.
Yeah.
So far.
Definitely.
The Jag Duo, are you sure?
Yes, he's sure.
got scales at home.
Number 6, we've got the
Oh, I've heard of this.
Magnavox Odyssey 3.
Yeah. Oh, I've heard of the Magnavox.
The Magnavox Odyssey 3.
Yeah, and this was apparently planned for 1983. So the Magnavox intended the Odyssey 3 to be the follow-up to its somewhat successful Odyssey 2 console in 78. Under its hood would have been an Americanized version of the Philips VideoPack G7 4000, so it's G7 4000, 7400, which actually found release in Europe. And again, this would preserve the compatibility with the Odyssey 2 while allowing better graphics for an entirely new line of software. Just as the Odyssey 3 was set to launch, the video game crash happened. I blame ET.
Oh, it's ET's fault.
Yeah, it ruined everybody's plans. And the second Odyssey sequel never made it to a wide market release. Although it's rumoured that a few were test marketed in US and Europe, so maybe a few
It might
have slipped through the net.
around there somewhere.
But they look very similar. I think that's next to the old one. It's
Oh,
hard to
okay.
tell apart, really. Yeah, a bit weird.
It's more like an update than a whole new thing.
It's been a little while.
Maybe a
since-
rehash.
Oh, Adrian.
It's been a little while since he mentioned Atari. So we've got another Atari console.
How many failed consoles are there?
But this is the question: like, how many times did they have to get it wrong?
You could have done a
before-
top 15 unreleased Atari console.
Could have done. Maybe I should have done. Yeah. But this
on, what
in
is
fifth
it?
place, we've got the Atari Cosmos. 1981.
That's
Well,
very-
look
that's
at
very
this thing.
80s.
It looks.
It's very 80s.
What do you call that thing? It almost.
It looks like a little handheld game.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
I love those little handheld
Yeah.
games.
Looks like a bit of a failure to me. But
Well-
anyway, don't call me Mr. Picky.
Yes, the
Cosmos.
Atari touted the Cosmos handheld game system as a sophisticated 3D machine of the future.
What year?
81.
Oh, wow.
And supposedly this would be the first electronic game system to use holographic images in gameplay.
Whoa.
The reality, however, wasn't nearly as exciting. A pre-printed holographic overlay merely served as a window dressing for a simple interchangeable electronic games displayed on a 7x6 grid of red LED lights.
Oh, God.
So a little bit like changing the covers on the Jag controllers. A little bit of that.
They love that. They love that.
When the press got wind of the system's true nature, enthusiasm dropped and Atari pulled the plug. Oh no.
Oh, no.
It sounded almost too good to be true.
It did.
This is really interesting. Look at this. In number 4, we're going a bit more modern now. We got the Infinium Labs Phantom, 2004.
Labs
Oh,
Phantom.
It
Go on,
looks
let's
a
have a look.
little bit like what the PlayStation 5 wished it was.
It's very sleek.
Yeah.
The PlayStation 5
It looks
does
like a
wish it was
router.
sleek.
Let's be honest. It looks like a router.
It does. This is the story of the Phantom is a messy one. Like many unreleased systems, it involves large sums of cash, big promises that were never kept. In a nutshell, the Infinium Labs designed the Phantom to play standard PC games on a TV set like a games console. Okay, we like that so far.
Interesting idea.
Yeah.
Its most novel feature, however, was the fact it would use no removable media whatsoever. Instead, users would purchase and download games for the Phantom over the internet.
Yeah, that'll never catch on.
Wow.
In 2004, the World Wide Web.
Oh man, how long would it have taken to download a game? in
Yeah,
What, hold on,
2004?
2004. You're talking.
So wait,
hold on.
was
you're
Doom out? No, but
hold on.
2004. What was the big game in that year? Can you imagine?
God.
Well, you're talking. What? You're still in the PS2, Xbox
Oh man, can you imagine?
era.
But hold on. Yeah, so you're talking. Hold on. PS2 games are what in terms of size?
No, in terms of gig.
Well, how about like Command and Conquer 3, maybe?
Couple of
Can you
gig?
imagine?
Maybe, yeah.
Couple of
How,
gig.
how
Think
much?
about
How much can a
1.5?
DVD hold? I'm not sure.
gig.
Is it about a gig? There you
DVD's
go.
1.7, I think.
Yeah, and that's what they were on. So,
and then you can get the dual layer, which does 2 lots of that. And then
so a few gig. How long to download? Remember how long it used to
But-
take to download songs when you were
No, hold on a minute.
not
So
illegally
2004
downloading songs?
2004, you'd have had probably 1 meg internet.
Probably.
I think
Oh,
you'd have
man.
had about 1 meg.
Yeah.
I mean, I think most people were on half a meg. So 1 meg, that's a long old time, isn't it?
A week.
I want to play Warcraft 3. Sorry, that's going to take you 2 weeks to download. How much money do you reckon was burnt into this machine until it finally wasn't released?
Oh.
Was kind of wasted. It's a shame, really.
1 million.
A lot more.
10 million.
A lot more.
What?
Apparently, $62.7 million was put into this machine because it's a good idea.
Wow.
But it was ahead of its time.
So what? Who's the Is that the company?
Infinium.
Was that the company?
Yeah,
Infinium
Infinium Labs, and they were making the Phantom.
Oh, right.
It's a good name, actually, the Phantom.
Phantom.
Whose money was that?
But
that-
can you imagine going to the meetings? You go to like big hedge funds and investors and business
No
angels.
one's worked out that everyone has slow internet.
Yeah.
No one has
No,
worked
but that's
it
a
out.
prime example of other media as well. So things like movies and stuff like that, where you had like Blu-rays that plugged the market after DVDs, for example, because the internet infrastructure wasn't there to have to download or stream.
Yeah.
So you had that kind of weird kind of period in history of like media and electronics history where it's like, okay, so we had VHS, we had DVD, and then everyone still had DVD. And we still had DVD, and then we had Blu-ray
Yeah,
for a
it's
bit,
true.
and then we could stream everything.
No, James, imagine you're head of Curry's, and I'm the guy that's
really
leading
don't
the
want
sales
to, but
team.
all right, okay.
I'll be like, "Oh, hi, James. This is Adrian here. I work for Infinium Labs. You might have heard of us." Have you
Keep
heard of-
talking.
have you
Yeah.
heard of-
You've got 30
We've
seconds
got
left.
this-
I've got
this
a meeting to
amazing
get
idea
to.
that we want
So
you
you'll have to hurry up.
We've got an amazing idea. We want to stock in your. We think it's going to be the next big thing. Have you heard of the internet before?
Yeah. Doesn't seem like much of a
You'll
goer,
never
to be
catch on.
fair.
Well, we've already got over $60 million worth of investments, and we think this console, which has no cartridges or CD slots, will be the next big thing. You can download games, PC games.
But the first question I would have asked
Yeah.
is, how big are the games? It would have been the question.
Next question, please.
There you go. But that would have been the question, and that just epitomises that whole period right there. The early 2000s is everybody wanted to get everything via the internet, but there was no infrastructure there for it.
It's true. Even
And
Netflix started with DVDs.
Exactly.
Send
And you got
them
like,
out.
you remember Love Film?
Yeah.
Remember that film?
man.
Yeah, because I was in the thick of that, and we used to sell the subscriptions and everything, and and it was a postal DVD service.
Yeah, physical
there
back
you
and
go.
forward.
as well.
Yeah,
But, I mean that it's a great idea. It was just at least a decade and a half too soon, really.
Good luck to him.
I'd say
A decade.
maybe. Well, it
Like the
depends.
Sega channel. So 'cause
2010,
Yeah.
2011.
if it was a
Eat.net.
Sega downloadable thing where you can just download like Mega Drive games and stuff,
Ooh.
that would be
Yeah,
real
PC
quick.
only.
If they
Exactly,
were,
stupid Infinium.
if it was smaller games, yes.
yeah,
So
exactly.
if it was like, for example, like PS1 games, I think are about 500 meg, 400 meg. You're in the right.
But no one wanted to play old games in 2004. That's the
No.
problem.
There's the problem.
We-
There was
Yeah.
no-
It was-
retro gaming wasn't
No, it
a
wasn't
thing.
a
in
thing.
the
you know what though? That's a really interesting little like kind of story. That one, I like that one.
Yeah.
There you go.
'Cause that's just an absolutely classic example of a great idea that could have been.
There you go. And I've
the
never
first
heard
one
of it
its
either.
kind.
So
Yeah,
there you go.
and the
Infinium
infrastructure
Labs
wasn't
Phantom.
there.
Yeah.
No, I like that. Like that one.
Yeah. The Phantom Menace returns. How would you pronounce that, Keith? The
we've got-
Taito.
Taito.
Woo wow?
Wow wow.
Wow wow?
It's
Wow,
W-O. It's W-O-W-O-W.
Wow, wow, wow.
Wow wow.
Taito wow wow.
Wow wow.
Wow, wow.
This is another games console that was touted, but this time for 1992. The Taito Wow Wow was a joint project between the arcade game producer Taito
Yep.
and JCB.
JSB, not JCB. That's the dickest.
JCB, mate, can you imagine?
Bright yellow. Black
Yeah,
stripes.
yeah. In the face.
Work construction
JSB.
site proof.
Yeah, but they worked at they're a TV channel called Wow Wow. There you go.
Okay.
And they wanted to combine the two. There's another company as well. AC,
ASCII.
ASCII, yeah, software developer.
Okay.
And the trio of companies designed the console to use CD-ROMs as its main form of game media, but also to be able to download new games through a satellite television hookup. Forget the internet, satellite.
Straight to satellite.
The future.
That's mad, isn't it? And I think these are real legit pictures. It looks a little bit like an Amiga CD32.
It does, yeah.
But with like a gold
Yeah, yeah,
sheet.
yeah.
Oh, it does look
Yeah.
like an Amiga CD.
It's quite snazzy, yeah.
Could you plug it into your digger?
yeah. They are missing the real
JCB.
key investor
That
there.
actually looks all right, you know.
Yeah.
That looks quite slick.
Yeah, and can you imagine downloading via satellite?
1992 as well. So that was
Yeah.
their plan, to download via satellite.
But again, no infrastructure.
No.
You might know about this, Keith. I think you mentioned this before. I want to talk about the Panasonic M2.
Oh, did I talk about it on the 3DO pod?
I think you might have.
Okay.
This
a while ago,
was touted for 1997. The M2 project, started by 3DO, began as a follow-up to the 3DO interactive multiplayer console. After a few years' development, 3DO sold the M2 technology to Panasonic, which readied a full-on assault on the games console market with the M2-based machine. At the last minute, Panasonic got cold feet and cancelled the launch. Oh no. The M2 technology then morphed into products like the Panasonic F7215, the multimedia player built in 1998, which is seen here, which was briefly released in 1998 but was not aimed at consumers. It made the actual technology made its way into ATM machines, vending machines, and information kiosks, where it is still used today.
Hey.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, so they made
can
the
it
right
play
call
Doom?
there then.
That's what I want to
Can
know.
it play Doom?
Can the Jaguar play Doom? You do realise this is not what we expect on this Reddit. One more, we're going to ban you. Oh,
I'll
man.
let you off this time.
You're a bad boy.
All right. I'm going to get in my duck and cover position because number
Is this
one is another Atari console. Oh, for God's sake.
I'm off.
I've got it. So number one, the most craziest unreleased
Go on,
console of all
what's it
time
called?
is called the Atari Game Brain.
Game
Brain.
Okay.
I say it wasn't made. It was touted for 1977. So I think it's the
Oh,
earliest
okay.
one.
Wow.
Game Brain.
Look, there's a picture. You see that?
Does it plug directly into your brain?
Look at that.
Pinky and the Game Brain.
In 1977, Atari designed its first cartridge-based games console, the Atari Game Brain. Wow.
Wow, indeed.
The first home system developed by Atari that took interchangeable carts. Very interesting control scheme there. You had a big knob on the top and also a cross pad at the bottom. Games were selected via the switches at the bottom. So it's all kind of, I think the controllers are kind of connected, all stuck together. Carts didn't have ROMs but chips that produced games similar to the PC 50X series of consoles. only 9 games would have been made available. It's probably wise, you could argue, the Atari passed up on this weird product in favour of the Atari 2600, also designed in 1977, which would quickly become Atari's landmark product. There you go. So I guess it's a weird looking thing. It's kind of all combined into one. You can't, it's stuck together. Can you imagine playing Pong on that or whatever? It'd be weird.
Well, they made the right call with the 2600, then, didn't
I
they?
think
Clearly. But so hold on a minute. So it was going to have 9 games.
Only 9 games are going to be released on it, yeah.
So I can see a pattern emerging here. So we had the Jaguar fail because of the game library. We had that one fail, the Game Brain fail because of only.
But that was
9
just going to be one machine. Done.
So
we're done.
was that the thread of failures for Atari? Then was the game library
A
attached
lot of those
to the...
multi-game sort of mini console things were all right. Like back in the day, they're only like those cheapo things. But it's that idea was a bit ahead of its time because you can if they'd have made it cheap. If it had actually like made a good markup on it, it would have been a nice thing just to have in the house, just to play those 9 games and entertain the family for a bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a
I know,
long term.
but-
They didn't envisage that to be like a long term thing, not like a normal console.
But then if you look at the stuff that did succeed with loads of games, like the Specky and the C64 and the Amstrad and stuff like that, was that mainly because of all the games?
I think that's
You
part
could
of it.
argue, couldn't you? Because that's
they're
such
different
a
types of
massive
product.
game library, isn't it?
Yeah, they're different types of product. I think.
I've got a quick few mentions of other consoles that didn't quite make it in the crazy top 15.
Do it.
We've got the Red Jade, which was going to be made by Ericsson, a handheld rival to the Nokia N-Gage. Can you see
Oh
that picture?
yeah.
So it's a weird-looking machine. You see that? The Nokia N-Gage. It's got a bit of a resurgence.
It's got a bit of a cult following.
I was
hasn't
going
it?
to
It
say
does.
that.
It does. And there's another thing here called the is it Camerica? Camerica Express, a
Camerica.
portable NES player. Look at that
Portable
thing.
NES player.
It looks like a weird, ugly Game Boy.
It does look pretty ugly.
Yeah, that's.
And
It looks like a hot water cylinder timer.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does.
it does.
like a
And
thermostat.
the last thing, something really interesting, the Nuon console that was released.
The new one.
The new one, it's
Yeah.
an incredible story behind it. The new one's a really weird. It's like a DVD player. Hardly any games made for it. And apparently there was going to be a sequel called the Indreamer L600, the new one. And again, it looks pretty funky. You know, I don't know what's so
Yeah.
special about it. It could probably play
It looks
DVDs.
a bit like a DVD player.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But there you go. There's 15 plus a few extra bonus.
You went to
James.
say the James.
He literally showed me and then just went, "Well,
That's it.
James
No.
can't see. Out of those 15 or so consoles, is there one that you'd love that?
Yeah.
Anyone that would have been successful if
Was
it
it the
released?
Conix?
the Conix,
The
one,
Conix
yeah.
Transformer.
That's
No,
what you
whatever
want.
It was called. The
Conix
one that
Transformer would have
transformed
just
from a
been-
steering wheel to
Yeah.
handlebars to a flight stick to a.
Do you know what? I'm sure I
maker,
had
I
a
don't know.
joystick made by Conix.
Oh,
I'm
that
sure
would
I
be
had a
cool.
joystick.
We said they
They
were a
made
big
peripheral.
peripheral company.
Yeah, I'm sure that name
British
just
and
keeps ringing
proud.
up. I'm sure I had a joystick.
Yeah, that
But
sounds amazing.
No, it's the Infinium for me.
Oh, really?
I think that's such a great idea, and
It was a great idea.
but they got
It was
failed by
too
the
soon.
infrastructure. It just
We
so
could say that about
frustrating.
Stadia as well, you know.
No, don't start dealing on Stadium.
Have you got a particular favourite out of that list, Dylan?
Well, I always thought the Jaguar should have been a CD-based console, so
So
I'll
the
have
Jag
the Duo.
I'll just have the Jag Panther. Why not? Just for a bit of a laugh. Yeah. The
They'd be like,
slower Jaguar.
What noise does a panther make?
If you want to play Trevor
Hold on.
McFur, but not in good graphics, not as good as the Jaguar equivalent, get the Panther today.
What was the Neo Geo for peasants? What was that one again?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
that was the
that
Atari.
was Atari Mirai.
Mirai.
We think
Chicken
it was going to
Mirai.
work with SNK because the offices were next
For
to each other.
normal people.
The CEOs basically
And
had
it had the
lunch.
flying saucer buttons.
Can you imagine? Oh God, it's the Atari guy again. Oh, jeez.
Atari guy.
What now? What do you think? I've got a great idea. What do you reckon we combine the Atari with the Neo Geo for normal people? Keith, and you can be the
Normal
SNK
people.
director. What's your answer?
Get out.
No, he's buying lunch. So all right, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
Yeah.
Good luck. Lemon
you speak.
Simpsons.
The Atari guy comes to me. He says, well, let's go for lunch. He says, I say, you like tie? He says, I like tie. You like shirt? So that's a really old Simpsons joke. Really old Simpsons joke.
So that's it. 5 meetings in a restaurant, and that's not. And I've got to leave, and nothing but good luck. I don't recall saying good luck. Oh dear. Is there any other unreleased consoles that you can remember that I haven't mentioned? Was there anything touted that you might have heard rumours of?
I don't think so.
How about, was there ever going to be a Sega Dreamcast 2 or anything like that? I don't know if there was ever any.
No, I don't think there
I
was.
do remember hearing about the Sega VR.
Yeah.
But just like a fleeting glance back in the day. But
Didn't Sega and Sony also go into discussions?
Ooh.
Or am I making
I
like
can see the
around?
cogs turning in Dill's head. He's dropped the mic. The glasses are down.
I don't know. I'm sure.
What's he going to come up with?
I think they did.
They
I'm
mentioned
sure
it
Tom
in
Kalin-
Console Wars.
Yeah, I'm sure Tom Kalinski's.
They did.
spoken
Sony
about
did
it.
speak to him about something, and then
Did
it
the
became.
CEOs go for lunch?
And then Atari walked in.
And then
Can we
Atari
join
walked
in,
in.
guys?
I don't. Was it something that Sega of Japan kind of?
No, I don't. I think
Poo-pooed or-
again, it's all to do with that N64 PlayStation circus. It was something to do with that.
Yeah.
So Vince Perry was right all along. He should have made that console.
Yeah, he would have made loads and
Yep.
then been sued a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I think he's got good lawyers. That's what I reckon. He's a good businessman.
Yeah.
Hold on, what was that one that you said? What was it? PlayStation?
Oh yeah, that was
Playman.
the Playman.
The Sony
Playman, the
Playman.
Sony Playman.
Oh, that was it. The Playman. Yeah,
Play-
the
yeah,
walk
yeah.
station.
The Playman.
If only we knew what happened if that was successful. Well, guys,
I guess we'll never know.
we'll never know. We'll never know. I hope you enjoyed that crazy,
Awesome.
whirlwind tour of 15 unreleased crazy consoles. Yeah, see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.
Thanks for listening to today's podcast. We really hope you enjoyed it. You can tweet us at Arcade Attack UK. We're also on Facebook at facebook.com/Arcade Attack UK. Check out our website at arcadeattack.co.uk for lots more retro gaming goodness and to delve into our archives. Our podcasts are also available on Spotify, Stitcher, Podbean, YouTube and Apple Podcasts. Please leave us a review and a rating, we'd really appreciate it. If you'd like to support Arcade Attack, please check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/arcadeattack, which will give you access to exclusive podcasts, interviews and other bonus content. So, until next time, take care and we'll speak to you soon.